Proud of how our guys battled throughout the game. Obviously gave up a lot of explosive plays that we got to continue to work to fix. Started with myself, making sure they're in the right spots and coach the right way. But proud of how they battled. We just got to find a way to finish that game.
You know, two tough defenses or two tough offenses you guys have faced, and there might be a perspective from a fan standpoint at least. You know, oh, FCS team, they're not going to be as tough. How wrong are fans about that assume that?
Very wrong. Yeah, very wrong. I mean, you look at North Dakota, first off, the #1 ranked FCS offense, so that's first and foremost, over 500 yards a game. And then, I mean, you just look at what some FCS teams have done this past weekend versus FBS teams. And this isn't just now, but for a long time. And so the difference is not as big as I think sometimes people want to make it out to be. They're going to come in here ready to rock, very well coached, they're a talented group, and they've won 2 straight games. And they obviously had a great season last year, returned a lot of players. So they're going to come in loaded. Their offense is clicking on a lot of different cylinders. They're very well coached, and they got a great they have a lot of answers for whatever you present for them defensively. So they'll be ready to rock, and we're going to work our tails off to be ready for them.
How battle-tested will this defense be by the time you guys get your mountain?
Well, that's the biggest thing. Going into the season, we had a group of guys that some of them haven't had a lot of game reps, and you're hoping throughout spring, throughout fall that you can really get them close prior to the actual game reps, but there's nothing like an actual game rep. And going through, obviously, Game 1 Washington, Game 2 UCF with the offense we saw, there's a lot of game reps that we've seen now. There's a lot of battle testing that we've been through. There's been a lot of failure, too, that we've had to learn through, grow in, and be better on the other side. We got a great group of guys that it matters to them. They care, and they're a great group to coach. We don't need to coach them every day on how to practice and the effort. We just got to fine tune some of our discipline in certain areas with our eyes and me making sure they're in the right spot. But hats off to our guys when they battled. And like I said, however things go, man, I take full ownership because we have a great group of guys that love playing for each other and they want to be an elite defense. We know that's the standard here. So I'm excited for them to keep growing. Yeah.
How much do you guys need him on defense, whether it be his mentality, technique, whatever?
Oh, yeah. No, we need Markel. I mean, he's not only a leader on this defense, but he's also a really good player. And it's been cool to see him now as he continues to get himself back to where we know he can be and he knows he can be. It was awesome to see him get the reps he had in the game, and he played really well. And it was exciting for me, Coach DeMauro from the staff, just to see him grow in his confidence. Obviously, 2 straight years of the knee injury, it takes a little bit, even mentally, to get yourself ready. But he's worked his absolute tail off from the training room to practice, and he played really well on Saturday. So I'm excited to see him continue to step up.
2 weeks and only 2 sacks, and none of them have come from anyone on the front. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing from the edge guys, the defensive line, and how do you get them to be playing at a spot where they're disrupting the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, starts with me. We got to find different ways to, from a pressure standpoint, via patterns, different ways to attack the quarterback from rush lanes. Obviously, last weekend, there was a huge emphasis on making sure we kept the quarterback in the pocket because of how explosive he was when he left. We did a good job with that for the majority of the game. Obviously, he got out in the 2-minute drill, which was a problem. But that was a huge focus. But it starts with me just making sure, from a call standpoint, we put these guys in good spots to where we can create some one-on-ones. We can have these guys go in to put them in better spots.
Pre-snap communication, between the safeties. I noticed on the first play of the game too. Is that where it needs to be in your opinion so far on the season? And how can it change? How can it get better? Just pre-snap when everybody knows what they're doing.
I think once again, it's not just either A, one position group, or B, one player. It's just as a whole group, we just got to be disciplined to do our job every single snap. And it's not, like I said, not one position group. It's obviously, as a defensive coordinator, it starts and ends with me, from putting them in the right spots in practice, making sure it's going from the meeting room to the practice field, which then, if you handle the meetings, the practice the right way, those habits will show up in the game when the bullets are flying. And so it's across all levels. Obviously, the emphasis number one for us as a defense is communication, eye control, because that is what eliminates explosive plays. We've given up explosive plays in these first 2 games because of a lack of that in certain situations. So it's just making sure from the meeting room to the practice field, from the safeties to the linebackers communicating to the D-line, across the board, it just has to be more consistent. And then once I communicate what we're supposed to do, let's make sure we all lock into our keys and where our eyes are going on certain movers. We got to hit on 2 big reverses in the game. Just a lack of eye control and leverage in those situations, which will be way better going forward.
Weigh, like, when your two best opponents you already played, maybe your best two teams you play all year, how do you weigh, like, stay the course versus whether it's you're changing how you call the game, changing personnel? How do you weigh, like, how hard is that to decide, like,
Yeah.
okay, well, it didn't work against them, but it may work for most of the teams we play the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think, BJ, the biggest thing for us is just focused on us first and foremost, is less about either A, who we're playing, or how fast this guy is, or how talented this offense we're going against is. We focus just 100% on us. If we're not communicating, if we're not looking at the right keys, if we're not getting off blocks the right way, making tackles, it doesn't matter who we play. We can play one of the top offenses in the nation, which we've seen through weeks 1 and 2, or we can play someone who's maybe not as talented depending on the week. It still doesn't matter. You're not going to be a good defense if you can't focus on those things. So don't look at it a lot in regards to, oh, we'll be fine just because of, you know, the offense we've seen, because there's a lot of stuff we need to fix. And I'm excited to. This group is excited too. Once again, one of my favorite groups I've ever coached in regards to guys that are hungry, love to work, want to show up and have the right attitude every morning. It matters to them. We just, once again, as the game reps start to stack with a lot of these guys that are now playing a lot for us, now the mistakes or learning experience we've had, we got to remember those. So now when we're back on the blue, we're defending the blue against a great opponent coming in, we got to learn from the mistakes we've made in week 1 and 2, coaches included, and make sure we're better going forward.
But that final drive, place is rocking, lights are flashing.
Yeah.
I mean, and then obviously first play they get the first down right away and they're off and going. What would you see on that last drive? And was there one of the plays where one of the receivers was actually out of bounds when they had that 2nd and 15 converted? Should that have been called?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you talk about a 2-minute drive when we're up by 1 point as a defense. I mean, you take that every time. I don't care who we're playing. If you give us an opportunity with a 1-point lead to go win that game as a defense, we will take that every time, and we need to. And so not executing those moments was frustrating. Obviously, I got to put them in better spots to be ready for those situations. And I know we will be going forward. But a lot of what they did were things that we were ready for. We've practiced, and so we just got to make sure we do a better job taking it from the practice field to the game, and we'll go execute in those big moments. In regards to the guy being out of bounds or not, we can't ever put it in the ref's hands to even make it a question, right? There's a lot of things that we're excited to clean up, start with me, and I know our guys will be way better for it.
Kind of watching on that end, Dimitri leave the field from a level of exhaustion standpoint, kind of reminded me of a guy like Leighton walking off the field in Colorado State in 17. Those guys played almost every snap in a pretty physical position. How much do you need from the guys behind them to maybe dispel them? What do you need to see to dispel those guys a little bit?
You know, and especially as we go throughout the season, I mean, our depth is going to be huge. And once again, the guys that are in backup roles doing a really good job in practice, proving themselves to show like they're ready for those moments. In that game, against an offense like that, the tough part is once they're rolling, it's going to be very hard to sub because there's no time wasted. They're moving. They very even rarely sub in and out of personnel. So a game like UCF is a little bit different than some teams. We will rotate more going forward. One, to keep them fresh. Two, because the guys behind them have done a really good job, and they're pushing it. So we're going to find more ways to rotate to keep our guys fresh and to keep them so we can be healthy throughout the whole season.
Rodney, I know he's a guy that you told me in the past that he's one that'll text you at 11:30 because he's watching film or something like that. In terms of, like, we take it as cliche when you guys say doing their 111, but how fine is the line of a guy seeing something on film, trying to anticipate something, but also checking your box and doing your 111?
Yeah, no doubt. For us right now, and I use this loosely, a younger defense, the number one focus for me, for our group, is do your job. Do your job. Because everyone in that seat, this place matters to them. There's no one here that's like, you know what, I'm going to go out there and just do something different because I think I should. No, that's not happening. But we have to have the discipline to do my job no matter what. Yes, there's film study to know what's coming. Hey, I know in this formation, here's the move, or this is where my eyes are going to be coming to. There's a couple different things I'm going to get. But the biggest point of emphasis for us as a defense is no matter what it is, you get a call, you see a formation, you communicate, you lock in your keys, and you do your job. And then you're obviously counting on the guy next to you to make sure he's doing his. And that's our biggest focus across all levels. Safeties, corners, linebackers, D-line, edge guys, that's our biggest focus. Because we got a great group to coach. We got a great group of guys that are going to continue to get better. We got better from week 1 to week 2. We got to take another big jump from week 2 to week 3. And a huge focal point is do your job. What's the call? what's the situation and what's your technique. Do that to the fullest you can. That's what we need from you. Not to overthink, well, I saw this on film, so I was thinking I could jump. No. Do your job. Do your job. Because that's how we can protect each other, and that's how you're an elite defense.
The past 2 weeks, it seems like the opposing offensive coordinator has tried to target Nohe quite a lot. And you mentioned he's playing 2 positions, or Andy did. He's been nickel and corner. I guess, can you explain the reason why? Like, why not just have a backup nickel instead of having him try and do 2 positions?
Yeah, Noe, I mean, first and foremost, Noe is a very savvy football player. We rarely do put people in too many multiple spots. Obviously, with some of the different packages we get in, we'll put them in different spots. There's a lot of same as. What I mean by that is, although you're in a different position or a different alignment, it's the same as technique as you would if you were playing corner, or same as you would be playing here. And Noe's done a good job, and he has to play all over the field. Obviously, there's some things that we're excited for him to grow in. And like I said, I wouldn't say just that Noe is being attacked. I think just in general, we're being attacked to see how we handle certain shot formations, see how we handle certain coverage adjustments, because we've put that on film. And that's when you play good offenses, they are going to look back and see what has hurt you. And if you have not fixed it and you do not have an answer, it's coming again. So less than maybe them attacking one of our players, it's just they're going to come back to find out to see, did we get this fixed or not? No different than the things UCF hit us on. I promise you guys can probably see it here in a couple days on Saturday. Like, it's coming back. And that's why we have to be very proactive as a staff to make sure we are fixing the things that have hit us. And so we're proactive, once again, like we tell the players to learn from the mistakes and grow forward. We have to as coaches, too, in regards to, hey, let's make sure we're clean on these fits moving forward.
What does a game like Saturday for Marco, what does that do for his growth?
It's awesome. No, I'm very, very proud of Marco, man. And you just seen, I mean, first game starting, and he's been here for a couple years, but with his ACL last year, he's never played a football game on the blue. And having it be his first game starting, and he went out there and played really well, was very productive. There's a lot of different stuff thrown at him. He handled it well. Not perfect. There's still some things I'm excited for Marco to grow in. But I was very proud of him after the game, how he handled it, how he played, and he led out there in the field as well.
2 big touchdown-saving interceptions. How encouraging was it to see Alex and Jalen come up big in the red zone?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge part for us in the game. I mean, we did not play well in the open field. We gave up explosive plays, be it reverses, not fitting a run correctly, leverage on the perimeter. But we played really good red zone defense, which really kept us in the fight. And it's a huge emphasis of who we are in defense, 3 or nothing. So when you go down there, especially either the first drive or later when we get those 2 interceptions, it was a huge part in the game. And it was a big focal point from us. Week prior, Washington was in the red zone 5 times, had 5 touchdowns. And now fast forward, did a much better job a week later. So that's a huge emphasis for us, is just how are we growing week 1 to week 2, and not focused on things we can't control. Who's coming to the stadium, who we playing, where are we traveling, who's hurt, who's not, who do we got, and we're going to focus on doing our job every snap. Do it for the brotherhood, do it because you love each other, and we'll keep growing forward. But I was excited to see, obviously, there were huge plays in the game, but us stepping up and how we play red zone defense was awesome.
Is there any part that's hard to evaluate a red zone defense? I mean, those 2 interceptions, those were 2 very catchable balls. The second one, the guy bobbled it 4
No
times.
question. Yeah.
I mean, if those go for touchdowns, maybe it's a different story.
It's a whole different game.
Is it hard to evaluate a red zone defense when it seemed like UCF almost beat themselves more in the red zone?
Yeah, I think just for us, the end outcomes, everything you look at in regards to success, but those plays, there was a guy wide open on one of them, and he should have walked into the end zone. So we're not coming up in here and be like, interception, great job, guys, then we're leaving. Like, that was a mistake on our part. Thank the Lord it got tipped and JC caught it, and trust me, I was not unhappy after that play when he picked it off, right? But there's still a lot of things to clean up. That's defense too. Just because on one play it's a TFL doesn't mean that we come up here and give each other slow claps, right? There's probably somebody else on the field that maybe played with bad eyes or didn't fit leverage. Weeks 1 and 2, it has just been shown at a higher level because of the talent we're playing, right? Someone's wrong, it gets exploited quickly. And so as tough as it is going through it, we are taking steps to continue to grow it, and we're going to be better for it in the long run.
Anything else? All right, thank you all.
Thanks, Spencer.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks, guys.